Right now, the sun is not causing any delay, but boy, it's going to be a hot one. Good morning to you, Scott.
Yeah, Patty, good morning, everybody. Hit 94 yesterday. It was the warmest day of the year yesterday. I would imagine now, and I'd have to go back and check each and every year. It takes a long time to do that. But I bet you yesterday was the latest we have ever had the warmest temperature during the course of the summer and fall. There might have been a few that were close, but 94 in late September, that's certainly a rarity, and it continues. It's not only here in Cleveland, it's all across the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley. As we look at the average temperatures since September 1st, so we're going back now, over the last 12 days or so? Cleveland, warmest on record over the last almost 2 weeks now, 12 days. Look at Buffalo, Chicago, Peoria, Illinois, looking up into most of Michigan, Minneapolis, Des Moines, Iowa. So this is just a snapshot. In fact, you could extend this south into Oklahoma and all the way up into New England as the temperatures have been well above normal. Remember that the first couple weeks of September were some of the coolest we've had in recent decades. So we've had some pretty big extremes this month. And of course, the 90s have been fairly prevalent as well. We hit the 94 shortly after 2 o'clock yesterday. You'll also notice that the beginnings of this cool down are fairly strong here. Look at behind the front. Those are the highs. 90s ahead of the front, 50s behind the front. So temperatures will start to fall. It'll take about a day and a half for us to completely clear out the heat as we await the arrival of that front. Most of the rain with it is starting to lift north. The front is weakening. Small chance of showers tomorrow. Right now, we got one more day of oppressive heat and humidity with a high of around 92 shortly after 2 o'clock today. A couple of quick notes on this heat now. We've had 6 straight days above 90. Okay, the last time that happened in any time of year, not only September, but we look at June, July, August, 22 years ago. That, I think, is the most surprising stat of all. Again, we mentioned yesterday was the warmest day of the year. Our stretch of 80 plus is now at 12. So we just continue with the kind of setting all sorts of different duration records with this heat and humidity. 65 tonight, and then tomorrow we finally trim back the temps slightly into the 80s. Small chance of a shower late. Again, we're not looking at anything major here as the front's going to come through sometime late in the afternoon. Again, there's that little shower right there. You can kind of see that line developing, and then eventually it heads into southern Ohio. So we've kept 20% on the board. We mentioned the big cool down behind it. And then eventually we're going to start to see some pretty chilly overnight lows. It's also been the driest September in over 50 years. So it's not only the weather pattern dries out the ground, and then of course the dry ground also aids in keeping the air very dry as well. We look ahead to trying to formulate our longer range outlooks. We're looking at changes in the southern Pacific Ocean near Australia, which is also strongly hinting at temperatures climbing in October. Right now we're heading into a La Nina, which is opposite of an El Nino. We're heading into that type of pattern into early winter and fall. We're also looking at the pattern over the Aleutian Islands, over the Bering Sea. That's also a strong indicator, and these are some of the different things that we look at in formulating outlooks 2 and 3 weeks down the road. Now, of course, it has trended much cooler at the beginning of the month. Since then, the temperatures have been well above normal. So, again, that's kind of what we're going with here. I think the outlook looking ahead into October will feature a brief cool down next week, followed by temperatures trending at or above normal, taking us through the middle of the month. So we're going to start to see more warmth as we look at this cool down, which will start on Thursday. So kind of give you a sneak peek of how we formulate some of these longer range outlooks using some different techniques and stuff. So at any rate, the heat will end shortly, and then we get a nice little break heading into the weekend.
Sounds good. Thank you, Scott.
You got it, guys. Sure.
7:18 is your time.